The function that we are going to look into is fscanf. This is very similar to scanf we saw in the past. For instance, we saw scanf, right? And we give the format specifier, whether it is integer or a string or a character, right? We did, or a float. We did some of them, right? The and we also gave the address of the variable in, say, x or something like that. So this is a standard function we use, and the default medium, the input stream is standard in, right? This is from the keyboard, all right? And so we kind of used this function to read values into a variable from the keyboard, right? Which is the standard in. Standard in is the. But if you want to read from a file, which is normally the case, and you extend the same function, and we have a new function for that. It's called fscanf. All right, it's the same function, but you have to give the file pointer that we read in the past, the file pointer, and the rest of the stuff is the same. Format specifier and x. So here the difference between scanf and fscanf is, here we give the file pointer in this case, and we use a different function, right? If you're coming from the Java world, you can merge these two things in one function, and the encapsulation takes care of all that, and right? But in C language, you have to have specific and different functions to handle different requirements. Okay, so this fscanf, like we said, the only difference between scanf and fscanf is it uses a file pointer. And if you go back to our example that we here, for instance, here I have opened a file for reading. I've created a file pointer, and I'm using that file pointer to read a pixel using with integer format, and my input stream is fp, which is this. All right, so what it does is it reads pixel values from the file input pgm and stores it, and that's to read the value into pixel. And in case, and it also returns the number of items read. For instance, man f read, if you see it, number of size t is number of items read. Here it is, the function f read reads, oh, not f read, sorry, man f scanf. Man scanf will tell you, that's a function. if you see the return, these functions return the number of input items successfully matched and assigned. Okay. And the value EOF is returned if the end of the input is reached before either the first successful conversion or matching failure occurs. Okay. So that's very important. Now if you go back, let's go ahead and see the file input.pgm. If you look at here, there's a bunch of numbers. We are reading from this file each and every number. All right. It just goes on. So we read all these numbers into our program using file pointer, and where did we, after we read into pixel one, we were only reading one pixel, remember that we are only reading one value, and we are storing that in an array, in a buffer. You always read from a file, right, and store it in your buffer. Your buffer could be one dimensional or two dimensional, whatever that is. You read into a buffer. Let's say it is 2, 4, 8, 10, like that. You will read it into your buffer one at a time. We are reading fscan one at a time. First you will read 2, store it in the buffer. You read 4, store it in the buffer. So it goes on. So that is how you do fscanf. And fscanf, if it fails, it'll return 0. Basically, that's why we get out of this while loop, right? And we read this whole while loop is here, and it reads each and every pixel, every value from the file, and stores in the internal buffer. In this case, we have a two-dimensional array, right? Okay, that is one way of reading using fscanf.